Hey folks, Joe Valley here. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Light Podcast. Today we're going to talk to Kristina Muntean from a company called Gorgias.com and talk about the future of customer service and communicating with your customers where they live instead of forcing them to communicate with you where you live. Meaning you live on email, you live on phone calls, which is the most expensive form of communication with your customer. Or maybe even now you've gotten really creative and innovative and you do text messaging. Gorgias can allow you to communicate with them on all of the social media platforms where you advertise as well. So the customer can direct message you from Instagram, from Twitter, from Facebook, wherever they might live, and allow them to do it in the mobile fashion that they do instead of doing the pop-up chat feature on the computer or sending an email waiting for replies. But it's not just a reactive thing that she talks about, being reactive to customers' requests. Where's my shipping? Where's my product? That kind of stuff. It's being proactive and increasing your conversion rate by being there for them, again, where they live on social media or wherever they might be, and communicating with them pre-order, meaning, they're going to ask you, about sizes or colors or shipping times or something like that, that will help them have more confidence. And then we talk about specifically about, we call it speed to lead here at Quiet Light. This is more speed to response. So what are customers looking for in terms of how quickly somebody responds to their inquiry? And the benchmark is less than 10 minutes. I think if you're doing DMs and things of that nature, the sooner the better, right? A text message, SMS messages, they can do it on WhatsApp now as well. They're implementing that right now, within seconds or minutes is the key. That is the future of e-commerce and customer service in e-commerce, being able to communicate with your customer, A, where they live, B, pretty instantly pre-sale to help them make a decision to get the right product in the first place, reduce returns, increase customer satisfaction, and the whole ripple effect that comes from there in terms of reviews, more customers, more referrals, less overhead, all of those different things. Great conversation. It's about, again, Gorgias.com. It's Kristina Muntean. Let's go ahead and see what she's got to say. Here we go. Kristina, welcome to the Quiet Light Podcast. How are you?
Thank you, Joe. It's so good to be here. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Before we get into who you are and how we know each other and what Gorgias is all about, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our friends. One is Ezra Firestone at Blue Ribbon Mastermind. That's how we connected, folks. If you're an e-commerce entrepreneur and you want to learn from the best, I would strongly suggest you look at Blue Ribbon Mastermind and consider becoming a member there. Second, Anthony Mink, as he's known by his friends, from Live Bearded. We know Anthony from Live Bearded. And if you've got a beard or a man that has a beard in your life and you want them to be smooth, soft, sexy beards, check out livebearded.com. My beard doesn't count. It's stubble. I don't do that. But Anthony, I'm straight. I've got a wife of 25 years. I just want to run my fingers through Anthony's beard. Tell me, Kristina, you do too, don't you?
It's a good beard. Man's got a damn good beard, that's for sure.
And the branding, folks, the branding and the way that they build a culture around having a beard is just amazing. You can learn a lot just by checking out what they do. So 2 things, check out Blue Ribbon Mastermind and livebearded.com. All right, enough about them.
Yeah, he's launching a new brand too, Minkus. So check out that one too.
And what is it?
Hey, they'll have to go find out. They'll have to go ping him to learn more. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll announce it through Live Bearded as well. So
exactly.
Kristina Muntean from Gorgias.com. Who are you and what the heck do you do over there?
Yeah, Joe. So as you said, I'm Kristina. I work in strategic partnerships over at Gorgias, and our whole mission is just helping e-commerce brands deliver exceptional customer experiences. So it's literally our founders saw it out. They saw the problem, which was honestly, most of the employees at Gorgias, a lot of them were e-com brand founders or worked at e-com brands and really saw hey, there's nothing that's supporting us exactly how we need in terms of a customer support software just for e-com. So literally that's what we've set out to do over the last few years, is just build a product that's actually specific to e-commerce merchants and the ecosphere, all the tech stack and, the opportunities, and kind of issues, challenges, if you will, that e-commerce brands come up specifically when dealing with customer support. One of those mainly being that when you're an e-com brand, your customers are finding you, everywhere. So maybe they're reaching out to you via an Instagram ad. They see you, you have a community in Facebook. They're messaging you on Facebook. Maybe you're doing SMS marketing and they're trying to engage with you there, live chat. So it's just, how can we support nowadays where, so many customers want to engage with you and research brands in all these different mediums? And how can we form relationships and help essentially basically drive those customers back to the website and help them get into your product?
So to dumb it down, it's not just a chat feature on a website. It's also allowing you to communicate with your customers on all of the platforms that you market them to, whether it's Instagram. Can you just name all those platforms for me again? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. So customer support, like the old school customer support, used to just be email and phone. But nowadays, honestly, customers are expecting to be able to have touch points with you in all these different channels. So what that means for Gorgias, we do our own phone, we do email, we do live chat, but we also do Instagram DMs, Instagram ad comments, Facebook, Twitter, soon to be WhatsApp. Basically, we pull all of those communication channels, even SMS, into one platform in place for the team to manage and kind of build those relationships.
Okay, beautiful. So like you said, people connect with you in all sorts of different ways with your brands, and the old school email, phone call, or let's just say pop-up chats, right? Like I chat with people when I'm trying to figure something out, because I'm old with gray hair and I do it through the website. But if they're on DMing via Instagram or whatever it might be, your platform, your service, your software allows them to communicate with customers wherever they are and whatever platforms you promote your products on.
Exactly, Joe. And what we're seeing nowadays too is that, people are expecting even more instantaneous response times for things. It's like I feel like we have that expectation across our entire culture. It's like you text someone and you expect that they'll get back to you right away. And brands are feeling that too. So honestly, people have been going to areas like the DMs almost as if it's like, hey, even more personal, and expecting that really quick touch point. And they're asking customer support related questions like, where is my order? But they're almost trying to get their needs met as quickly as possible. And therefore going to some of these other channels, SMS and DMs are two that are really starting to grow. Email is definitely still the most popular. But so it's how can we kind of meet that demand and need for the customers and make that possible for brands to actually manage this bulk of different channels in a really effective way.
Cool. So I've got the Gorgias website up here on my screen. So I'm going to look to the right a little bit, folks that are actually watching us on YouTube or on the Quiet Light site. But the history's amazing. And of course, now that I want to scroll through it, I don't see where it is. But come on, where were I? Yeah, here we are. The company founded way back in 2016. So ahead of the game in terms of thinking forward and communicating with customers on all the platforms where they are, instead of forcing customers to communicate where you communicate, whether that's email or phone call or a chat feature on your website, you are allowing the customer to communicate wherever the heck they are. And more and more and more, if we look out to the future, it's going to be less email and less phone call and more DMs on all the different social media platforms. But the numbers are staggering as I look at this. You guys have over 9,000 customers. Now, the growth is pretty incredible too. 6,800 customers in 2020 and projected 9,000 plus customers in 2022. But you're still relatively a small operation. Just in 2018, you grew from just 5 employees to 15. And now you've got locations all over the map, right? I'm looking at San Francisco, Toronto, New York, Charlotte. Hey, that's where I am. Paris, Belgrade, and Sydney. I think that you mentioned that sometimes you're going to be in Charlotte, so we're going to grab some lunch or something. Sydney, Australia.
Definitely.
All right. So
yeah,
it sounds great to be able to communicate with the customers wherever the customers are.
Yeah.
What's it take from, like, if we're talking to somebody or somebody in the audience is, just keeping the wheels on the bus, right? Doing a couple of million in revenue and just trying to get customers to respond to them, and they don't have enough bodies to do this. What's it really take to be able to do this? Can you get any case studies in terms of size of companies, and do they have to put new customer service people in place, or can they just still take that on? Depends upon volume, of course, but lay out some of that for me.
Yeah, great question, Joe. And one we get asked often. And honestly, like, the power and beauty of Gorgias is, again, that we want to make it so much more efficient with the different integrations that we have. And because, again, Joe, e-com is all that we do. So it's not like we're trying to be the best for every industry. It's just like, how can we be the best for e-com? So knowing that our customers and potential new customers are in all these different channels, it's been really important at Gorgias to say, okay, how can we help brands automate pieces of this process, things that are repeatable, more admin related, and organize them, so that then we can spend more time on, okay, what are actually the communications that are happening pre-sale that actually bring us more converted buyers, or that build relationships that make someone such an advocate for your brand. So, for example, Joe, one of the things that I always tell brands to do and look at is, go through, and if you import your tickets into Gorgias, or, if you're not on Gorgias yet, put them in Excel if you want. But basically, you can see all of the different categories if you filter those all through Gorgias of all the different inquiries. Gorgias has basically an AI system that kind of senses, hey, what's the content of this message? And then filters them into tags. So maybe we see shipping delays. Maybe we see out of stock, wrong product sent, or whatever the different inquiries are coming in. And we can say, okay, wow, we can really see from this organization that I am getting the bulk of my messages are, where is my order? Or maybe we had a stock issue. So there are these two things, and assess, okay, what are repeatable or kind of admin related questions? How can I automate those to then be able to take some of the time? My team doesn't have to worry about those. Take some of that, give them more bandwidth to focus on, okay, if where is my order? We're kind of automating those through either a self-service chat feature, through basically, like, you can even set it up, Joe, where Gorgias says, okay, Joe's asking me, where's my order? I'm synced up to his Shopify or whatever other e-com platform he uses. I'll send out this macro with his specific information in it. We don't even see it come in. So then it's like, okay, that's deflected from my team. That frees up all this extra time for me to be on the live chat with someone who's buying a gift for their friend and needs help. Or that gives me bandwidth to go into the Instagram ad comments and see someone tagged their friend, and to be able to respond and maybe share, a front-end customer acquisition offer, and try to, again, drive those eyeballs that you're paying so much for back to the site. So it's this combination of, I'd say, firstly is the tool is incredibly efficient in that it pulls in all those channels, integrates directly with your e-com platform. So you don't have to, you can basically like take action on orders, edit shipping, everything right from Gorgias. And then using automation where it makes sense for these admin related areas to free up more bandwidth that you wouldn't have if you didn't have kind of the setup and structure.
Right. So once you get through that initial setup, it actually frees up time and allows you to provide better customer service. Let me back up just a sec. What are the statistics generally? I mean, you see 9,000 customers that you have. What percentage of tickets, as you call them, right? This is me learning the language. I've heard it before, but don't use it often. What percentage of tickets come through via email versus phone versus text or SMS versus direct messages or DMs from social media at this point?
Yeah. So Joe, the one thing which you kind of, basically demographics matter. So, like Ezra speaks about Boom often, and, he said things that based on his demo, he's mentioned
makeup for women over 40 years old or just older women.
exactly,
Okay. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Amazing makeup and skincare line. And so he's always said things like, hey, if your demo skews in, an age range, maybe it's, 50 and above or something, that they might have more of a preference for phone calls
Sure. Yeah.
than say the DMs. So it definitely is, age specific based on your demographic, but still to this day, Joe, overall email is by far the most high volume channel, but chat, SMS, and DMs are absolutely the fastest growing. So although they make up a much smaller percentage and chunk, we're seeing them jump leaps and bounds to the point where that's why we launched our own SMS for support. So that instead of a brand saying, hey, if you need us, call 1-800, whatever the number is, you can actually direct people to say, hey, if you need us, text us. So we're seeing that shift for sure, but the demo of the brand is definitely like first questions to have, especially if I'm talking to a brand and trying to help them assess, what channels to focus on first.
Okay. So text and direct messages are growing the fastest. And eventually, that email and phone will slow down. I would imagine, though, it varies dramatically depending upon where people communicate with their customers, right? So if Boom by Cindy Joseph is doing a ton of Facebook ads, which is an older generation product and an older generation platform, a lot of those folks they're not communicating with them on Facebook, or maybe they are because that's where they live, because that's a platform that Gorgias works on, is communicating with people where they live on Facebook. Yes.
Yeah. So we can definitely help with Facebook Messenger, or if there's, yes, we can basically, and there's honestly, Joe, there's a lot of sophisticated things that we can do depending on, as you said, where the brand chooses to kind of form community and build relationships with customers. I will say that we have heard a lot of brands say, hey, I haven't prioritized SMS as a channel. I've just done some marketing messages. I don't really ask people to engage back, but that they found if they do, so instead of saying like, hey, 10% off this weekend, if they ask for feedback, listen to their customers there, have a conversation that doesn't feel automated, that it feels like me and you, Joe, going back and forth, really listening, that brands do find that can open up almost like new business opportunities, or like almost like new customer channels, or even areas where customers want to engage more or feel almost like it's more special or personalized. So I will say, don't be afraid to test different channels and see if, there's, you never know where people will prefer to reach out.
All right. So everything's about return on investment in this world that we live in. If somebody's going to, invest their time, energy, and money in a SaaS product like Gorgias to help improve customer experience and drive more revenues, you got to have some examples of case studies of people that use your service and went from X conversion rate to Y conversion rate. Can you address or talk about anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely can. And I'm so happy to share specific case studies if there's an industry that, someone's really interested in. One that comes up often, and I think, Joe, I love this one because I think it's a use case of Gorgias that people say, wow, I didn't even know you could do that. So it almost unlocks ideas and potential, but I'm not sure. There's a women's clean skincare brand called Ilia. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Joe, but fantastic products. And their best-selling product is a skin tint, almost a moisturizer, and it kind of like evens your skin tone a bit. And they have so many shades, Joe. If you go to their site, you get there and it's fantastic because you'll be able to find one that looks good on you. But at the same time, all those concerns come up of, wow, how do I know this is the right one for me? If I order it and it's not, can I return it? That's a pain, all of that. So we worked with our team and work really intimate with them around kind of this friction on conversion for their bestseller, and actually instituted basically on the product page, it says, right above add to cart, find my shade. You click that and it actually invites the customer to take a photo of themselves, go ahead and submit it in. And they have a whole team. That form goes straight into Gorgias, assigned to a specific team that prioritizes responding to those really quickly, because again, these are buyers that have raised their hand for this specific product. And basically what they've seen, like I can't share exact revenue figures, but for Q4 of last year, there was over 35,000 inquiries that came into that one specific form with photos. And they saw like over a 25% conversion rate on all of those inquiries that came in. And it was well into the 7 figures in terms of what sales that one specific campaign generated. So
a 25% conversion rate or increasing conversion rate because of that change and what they're able to do because of Gorgias?
25% of those 35,000 ticket inquiries bought.
What happened? What was the, conversion rate before that, of the 35,000 that would have just gone to the website and tried an add to cart? And, obviously it's a success.
Yeah. What was like
I'm curious.
Totally. What's the lift? And they weren't and that's a great question, because they were measuring it on, hey, we didn't have this campaign and we know, I'll actually ask them, Joe, and then we can get back to people if they're curious, because they were just sharing that, hey, it was this lift of 7 figures almost of a kind of additional to this one SKU. But I'll ask them to see if I can share kind of the ranges there of what the conversion rate on the page was before they asked for Find My Shade. I think the big thing too, what we're seeing here, Joe, which is what they shared, besides the fact that it brought in 7 figures in 3 months, was that their decrease in returns, therefore increase in satisfaction that they saw, and people saying, hey, I had such a good experience with Ilia versus I got this skincare product, it wasn't the best fit, so let me just go to Sephora and go in person and pick a shade. It was like, this was amazing. If you were afraid to buy online, don't worry, go use this and then find the right shade, and had almost brand advocates and to get rid of the friction in terms of like, can I buy a skin product online? Yeah.
So folks, go to Ilia Beauty, ILIA beauty.com. And there's a button there that says Find My Shade. And that's what we're looking at. Pretty interesting, because not only does it sound like it increases customer satisfaction right away, increases revenue right away, but the ripple effect of decreasing returns, increasing positive reviews, having people stay on the site, come back to the site, and decreasing, I would think just the customer service requirements on the back end and people power that you need to serve these customers, because there's returns and questions that you're able to now answer by the fact that you have the Gorgias tool to implement this, and work with you guys to set up this Find My Shade thing. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah. So is it, you talk about e-commerce. Let's define that. Are we talking about selling physical products, or are we talking about selling stuff online, meaning services and content as well? Is it any place where customers interact with the founders of the business?
Yeah. So I would say, Joe, like most of our customers are actually selling physical goods online. That's the majority of our customers. Primarily 90% of our customers are Shopify or Shopify Plus stores. The rest are BigCommerce and Magento, but those are really the 3 platforms we support. So I feel like kind of the nature of that means a lot of them are selling physical products. Most of them have majority of the presence on their D2C channel with some Amazon. We can actually pull in some of those Amazon inquiries as well. And then of course, there's some use cases where people maybe are selling like a digital, something that's not actually a physical product. But I feel like the total power of Gorgias and everything we're talking about in terms of like deflecting some of those inquiries post-purchase, such as where is my order, or so that the team can kind of have more bandwidth to focus on actually building relationship and driving sales on the front end, that has the most impact when it is kind of a physical goods type of a business.
Yep. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. How difficult is it to implement something like this? Let's just say that I'm a 3-man show, meaning it's me and a couple of VAs.
Yeah.
I'm doing a couple 3 million in revenue, and I've got 10 SKUs. Is it a long, laborious process, or is it pretty simple?
No. So it is. So, and Joe,
it's not simple, or no, it's not a long, laborious
No, it
process.
is not laborious. Yes. sorry there, Joe. But yeah, for full context and background too, I have not been like in SaaS for that long. Prior to this, I was overseeing e-com for a supplement brand, and I actually met Gorgias at Blue Ribbon, and we were on another platform, and the customer service manager at the time, I introduced them to Gorgias and was like, hey, do you need help? Like, are you good? And he got it implemented himself within just a couple of days. So honestly, it's depending on how big the store is, how much ticket history we're migrating over, how many existing rules or an existing FAQ or whatever else that is, like 2 weeks is kind of long onboarding for us, because really you can integrate your Shopify, all of your Klaviyo's, Recharges, Postscripts, all of those kind of tech platforms just with clicks of buttons. And then it's just the ticket importing and stuff. So 2 weeks is like very long, and few days is really common.
Okay. Any other examples or case studies that people have just seen an improvement in conversion rate? The find my color is interesting, but it wasn't just an implementation of Gorgias. It was an implementation of it and a new page on a website, a new sort of method or platform. What if I'm selling grilling aprons, and how do I, how's Gorgias going to help me in that sense?
Well, and I mean, Joe, this is another awesome brand from Blue Ribbon, but OG Skincare, we were chatting with them, and they instituted some chat campaigns that were just supporting people in the buying process. So simple campaign, you can put campaigns on different product pages or parts of the website that are all unique. Simply just engaging with the customer, saying, hey, can I help you find the right shade? And simply asking that question opens up communication for customers to share their friction points, for you to understand those more. Maybe you can make improvements to your product page or website or customer journey in the long run, but in the short term, help them get into the right product quickly. And stories like that is so simple. You and I could set that up in 2 minutes, but it's really, we're seeing brands have success when they actually actively engage pre-sale with customers. So don't just think about this engagement with customer support as I'm going to put out your fires after you've ordered. It's how can I help you get into the product on the front end? So I think OG, that one is just really simple. The other thing I would say, Joe, is what time and time again is the number one predictor of our customers saying, wow, this was an amazing experience. First response time. It continues to be like the pillar that we come back and look to, where people say, wow, someone got back to me right away. Even if it's hey, like, thank you so much. We got your message. We're out of the office until if it's late at night, like tomorrow at 9 a.m., we'll get right back to you. Or just those touch points are incredibly important. So
I just want to say response time is, I agree 1,000%. And that's something we battle at Quiet Light. We call it speed to lead, right? Somebody inquires, wants evaluation of the business. Historically, we've said, okay, somebody will be with you within 24 hours. We try to get to them as quickly as possible, but having some message get to them somehow, some way. Imagine in the first 10 or 15 minutes when someone fills out the lead form and they get a text message or a calendar link to an advisor that's going to, connect with them. We don't do that. We're working on it, folks. So if anybody has any solutions other than, or in addition to Gorgias, we're not an e-commerce business, so it's a different issue altogether. But speed to lead, immediate communication with the customer, man, that's everything right there. You care. If you can do that and improve that, and just convert at 10% higher, meaning 3% to 3.3%, it pays for itself all day long and then some. And not just on the front end, like you said, on the customer service issue on the back end, on the review side of it, on the word of mouth side of it and all of that. I think it's really smart.
Totally, Joe. Yeah. And people these days, like, first response time has been important, but again, it's getting shorter. It's like people's expectations are that window is smaller. So I know you kind of mentioned 10 to 15 minutes. It's, the bulk of people view an immediate response as 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, it's funny, when they fill out the Quiet Life valuation form, we're working on the form now because people rush through it, and when they rush through it and they skip over things at the end, we know it's not a complete valuation and people didn't fill out the form correctly to begin with. So we're actually, I'd be curious to see if anybody listening wants to send me a message about this with their thoughts. We're actually going to ask for phone numbers, mobile phone numbers. We're not going to require it, but I think those that put their mobile number in, historically, we've never ask for people to give us their mobile numbers when looking for a valuation, which is stupid, to put it bluntly, in my view, because if they really do want a valuation, they're going to communicate with us. And in order to communicate properly, it'd be great if we had their contact information beyond just an email address. And so those that put in their phone number as well, we know they're more serious, but would love to be able to get that information and then text them within 10 minutes, right? You say that's the time frame. Is it 10 minutes?
That is like what the majority of people view as, hey, an immediate response. If it's 10 minutes or less, I can say that feels immediate to me.
I would love to be able to make that happen, and then just automatically give them a calendar link if they want to set up a time with an advisor. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the challenge. And so many people that are selling physical products have, different challenges, because you can communicate most of the time online. You don't have to have actual conversations, right? Conversations take longer.
Hey, they do. And that's honestly, Joe, you spoke to it. Phone is the most expensive channel. So for me to have teams to actually be on calls and spend all that much time, it costs the brand that much more money. Chat is the least expensive, these SMS as well. Yeah. So again, it's how can we deflect some of those phone calls? So instead of someone calling me to track their order, how can I give them opportunities to get that information in other ways themselves, and then save the phone for, really important. Maybe you have a high AOV product or something that's a big purchase for people. And maybe like that phone touch point is really important to get people over the final sale. Let's save the phone calls for those kinds of dynamics instead of just, hey, you said it'd be here Sunday and it's Monday, or Monday and it's Tuesday kind of a thing.
So speed to response, critically important. Gorgias can help with that. Do it within 10 minutes. Be able to communicate with your customers wherever they are and wherever you advertise. So if you're advertising on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, what about no, it's not TikTok. Yeah, I have TikTok. Is it TikTok? Can you communicate on Twitter, on TikTok yet with the customers?
Not yet. I believe that's a limitation
Eventually.
with like TikTok's API not being open and available for us to build into, or anyone to build into.
Yeah, it will be eventually.
It will be. But WhatsApp is exciting. People have been really gearing up for that, like especially internationally, as that's a huge channel to communicate with.
I think we should all stop messaging each other, with iMessages or SMS messages on our Android phones, and just to all use WhatsApp. That's the only way to truly communicate with anybody in the world without issues.
There you
go. At least on our team, we've got people international, and WhatsApp works best. When you've got people that are mixed up on different phones and you're doing group messages, Androids and iPhones, it just doesn't work. No, I love that you're going to expand to WhatsApp. That's going to be able to break down international barriers pretty quickly.
Definitely. And SMS in general, Joe, we're really excited, and brands are excited about the channel, because even with chat, you can lose a customer. Like, they have to be on their computer, and what happens, someone comes to their door, they've got to go grab their kiddo or whatever it is. They leave, there's things that we can do actually where you capture their email and you can almost like flow them into Klaviyo, for example, and send them almost an abandoned chat reminder. So definitely some things we can do to try to keep up with abandoned chats. But if you have an SMS conversation with someone, they can go, pick up their kid or do something for an hour and then respond back to you. And you can keep that touch point going in a way that sometimes you don't lose them. So that's, important and exciting. And also we know people open their text messages. So it's incredible open rates. So
so much more than email.
Yeah.
My personal email, I hardly ever check it. It's mostly junk and spam.
Totally. And again, Joe, the brands that we've seen, like Olipop does this so well. Like they speak to their customers via SMS like it's their friend. It is not an automated scripted thing. And to the point where I was talking to a brand this weekend, and he said the customers feel like it's so personal over SMS that they'll just be like, hey, Bob, what's up? Like just they'll reach out, later through SMS like they're texting their friend, that's what you want, those personal touch points.
Yeah. So check that out as well, folks. So you can go to, the first one was Ilia Beauty, ILIA beauty.com, and experience the interaction as a customer because they use Gorgias, and drink olipop.com. It's a classic soda company. Do the same thing there. Check it out. See how it feels. See if it makes sense, and communicate with them in different ways. And maybe try it out by, finding them on Instagram and sending a DM and see how it feels, see how it works for you, and take your dog for a walk while you're doing it, or pick up your kid at school while you're doing it, because it gives you that freedom and flexibility. Fantastic. Well, listen, Kristina, we're running out of time. You and I could talk for days. I know that.
Yes, we could.
How do people learn more about Gorgias? Where do they go? How do they find you? Should they connect directly with you? How do people get in touch?
Yeah, Joe, absolutely. They can email me. That's probably the fastest. And I know we'll probably
old school email.
Old school.
After all this, you want an email?
I mean, I could give them all my.
I'm sorry. Everybody listening needed me to call you out.
I know they did.
They needed me to call you out.
Should I give them my personal phone number, Joe? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Well, we'll
What's
start
the
with
email address?
So it's just my first name, Kristina with a K, dot my last name, Muntean, at gorgias.com.
And Muntean is Muntean, folks. Kristina.Muntean at gorgias.com. I'll put it in the show notes as well. And of course, they could just go to gorgias.com and take a look. I believe there's a free trial period as well, right?
There is. And honestly, Joe, if anyone emails me, I can give them 2 months off too as well. So if you email me, not through the website, but feel free. I can hook y'all up.
The website is a 7-day free trial, but let me give it one more time. Kristina.Muntean, Muntean at gorgias.com. You'll get 2 months off. So you get 2 months to test it and work it out. Brilliant.
Exactly.
Well, it's been good to see you. It's been good to chat with you. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad we got to call out our friends Ezra at Blue Ribbon and Mink at Live Bearded. LiveBearded.com, folks. Check it out. Another great brand if you want to see how people build an incredible community. Go to All right, we're shouting out to all of our friends. Enough.
Totally.
Thanks for coming on, Kristina.
Thank you, Joe. So good to see you. Thank you, everyone.